At its core, Scrum is all about continuous learning and adjusting to change. It acknowledges that we don't know everything at the start of a project, and it's structured to help teams naturally adapt to changing market conditions and user requirements. Hi, I'm Megan Cook, Group Product Manager for Jira Software at Atlassian, the makers of Jira and other collaboration tools. In our last episode, we talked about what Scrum is and why so many teams think it's an awesome framework for getting work done, especially big, complex projects. Now that you have a good baseline, let's take a closer look at how it works. Scrum revolves around short, iterative release cycles, or sprints, that allow you to ship often, reprioritize when needed, and constantly improve. Here's how it works. As a development team sets out to build a new product or improve an existing one, they have a long list of stories, features, requirements, enhancers, and fixes to work on. This is called the product backlog. Think of it as a running to-do list. Every few weeks, the team plans which of the tasks from that backlog they'll work on during the next sprint, the short time period when a potentially shippable increment of work is created. Sprints are normally around 2 weeks, but your team can decide on the length that works for you. Throughout the sprint, the team participates in a number of events on a regular basis, often called ceremonies. These ceremonies are the hallmarks of the Scrum framework. They create regularity and help teams maintain transparent, clear communication, adapt to change, and continuously learn. The key ceremonies are sprint planning, daily Scrum or stand-up, sprint reviews, and sprint retrospectives. Let's start with sprint planning. During this ceremony, your team decides what you want to accomplish during the next sprint. Then you work together to move tasks and stories from the backlog to the sprint in order to meet the sprint goal, keeping in mind what's feasible to complete in 2 weeks. During each day of the sprint, you and your team have a daily Scrum or stand-up. This is a super short meeting that happens at the same time and in the same place. It's usually in the morning and lasts for about 15 minutes, but you can make it shorter or longer if needed. It should be quick though. Don't let it turn into an hour-long meeting that gets in the way of other work. The goal of the daily Scrum is to get everyone on the same page. It's also a time to voice any concerns you have or things that may be blocking you from making progress toward the sprint goal. At the end of the sprint, the team gets together for a sprint review, an informal session to view a demo and see what was accomplished. This review meeting is when the development team shows off the backlog items they finished to the product owner, who approves them for the release. The product owner also reworks the backlog based on the current sprint, and that serves as a starting point for the next sprint planning session. The last step of every sprint is the retrospective, where the team comes together to talk about and document what worked well and what didn't work. The retrospective could be about the sprint, the project, the people and relationships, tools, or even certain ceremonies. The idea isn't to dwell on what went wrong, but to create a safe space where the team can talk about what went well and what needs to be improved for next time. So, to recap, the 4 Scrum ceremonies are sprint planning, daily Scrum or stand-up, sprint reviews, and sprint retrospectives. These are the practices that will hold your process together. But these practices don't run themselves. That's where the people come in. We'll talk more about that and the roles each person plays in our next video. Stay tuned and follow our channel for an even deeper dive into each of these ceremonies, along with other helpful tips on how to get started with Scrum.